strange that forts are not looked at the way they should be ideally looked at, especially in Goa. We go there for the sunsets, we go there for the views, we go there for clicking our so-called Instagram-worthy pictures. I am no different, I must confess. I've been this way up until recently. The story of this fort that I'm going to talk about today changed the way I relook at forts and history forever. We are talking about a fort by the name Reis Magos Fort in Panjim, Goa. Standing tall and proud, overseeing the Mandovi River and protecting the taluka of Bades, this fort is one of the first of the Portuguese rulers against the enemy invasions. The structure exudes majesty and grandeur, and though this is not the biggest fort in Goa, it still commands respect and awe. Alfonso Albuquerque in 1510 took over Vela Goa and he secured the place. Ismail Adil Shah, the Sultan of Bijapur, was about to take it away from him and push the Portuguese into the sea, and the Portuguese would stay there, helpless, not being able to do anything because of the fast approaching monsoon. They were starved to death, they had limited supplies, their ships were destroyed. It is also believed that most of the Portuguese had starved themselves to death because of the limited supplies and the water not being drinkable. Very soon, with Portuguese reinforcements coming to his aid, Albuquerque stormed into the streets of Vela Goa once again. Further securing the small towns around, he rebuilt the fort in 1510. The fort was originally built by Ismail Adil Shah in 1493. When the Sultanate was defeated by the Portuguese, this redesigned fort was supposed to be the first line of defense for the then capital Vela Goa. This fort was enlarged at various times before being completely reconstructed in 1707. This fort is known for the strategic natural advantage it has. The dramatically rising slopes from the already existing outpost made it very easy for the defenders to spot any enemy crossings easily. It also gave them enough time to prepare for defense, as these slopes were almost impossible to climb. The walls also had watchtowers at the top, which served as natural vantage points. The fort also had the advantage of a perennial water source from a nearby spring. The fort, which stands on the hill overlooking Reis Magos Church today, is by no means the original structure, nor is it the first to have been constructed in this locale. The fort was initially used to house viceroys and other dignitaries who were arriving from or departing to Portugal. However, with the threat of invasion from neighboring Indian states, the fort became a military stronghold, and in 1739 it was used to repel the enemies that occupied much of the Bades Taluka. Built before the majestic Aguada fort, this fort is the work of strategic construction that made it nearly impossible to lay siege upon for the invading Maratha armies and the Adil Shah armies. Several changes were introduced into the fort, and then in the 18th century, the Reis Magos fort was reconstructed. The fort was an important strategic military monument of Vela Goa, which was the Portuguese capital of Goa. However, in the 19th century, after the capital was shifted to Panjim, the monument was left abandoned. Restored in June 2012, the Reis Magos fort was originally built in 1497 by Adil Shah of Bijapur as an armed outpost. It was captured by the Portuguese and rebuilt on a larger scale around the 1550s. By the 1900s, the fort was no more used as a defensive structure but a prison. It was completely abandoned by 1993 until 2008, when the Government of India, Intash and UK-based Helen Hamlin Trust got together for the restoration process. There are a lot of interesting things about this fort. There are sections and chambers where you will see how it served as a prison. There's also a wooden model of the fort, and you will also see the strategic things that the Portuguese did to ward off their enemies. Today, there's also a little exhibition that tells you the story of the Portuguese time in Goa, and it also showcases the highlights of the Goa liberation movement. Overall, this is a place filled with history and gives you a feel of how Portuguese ruled over Goa. There are also guns and cannons housed outside the fort. There were originally about 33 cannons, but only a few of them could be restored. Overall, I urge you not to miss this fort unless you want to miss a crucial part of the Portuguese history of their time in Goa. Thank you so much. My name is Casey, and you are watching History Undone.